Calling our meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. At this time, we have the invocation and pledge by our chaplain, Frank Stevens.
And for the invocation, remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Father, we speak your blessing over our elected officials who are giving of their time and their talent to serve the people of Lynn Haven, even at the expense of from their families and their businesses. Give them wisdom and discernment. Protect our police and fire personnel. Keep them safe and out of harm's way. We give thanks for the dedication of our city employees who faithfully serve our city. Strengthen them with wisdom and grace for the heavy burdens they carry. Give them wisdom and discernment as they manage their teams and their projects. Bless and strengthen them as they work in the best interest of the people they are called to serve. We speak this in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have our public commentary sign-in sheet completed? Have Mr. Brent from Vernus Road.
Good evening. I'm Brent Salvadori from 1403 Inverness Road from Moet Highlands. I'm here tonight just to kind of bring up a point regarding the installation of the speed bumps in our neighborhood. The first point was the lack of transparency with regards to how the data was collected and the fact that when the offenses occurred and how motorcycles, dual axle trailers, and trucks towing trailers behind them affected the collection of that data. And also, while these speed bumps are temporary, you may have seen where one of our citizens had his car severely damaged, ripping off the oil filter last night. And we've had other folks talk about front-end alignments, shocks, struts, undercarriage, exhaust issues with these speed bumps. So I'd like to point out that why other methods were not considered, or are they ineffective? So flashing speed radar signs, they're used on 26th Street, they're used on 77, and that is to help curtail speeding on those roads. However, these were not considered for our neighborhood as a smaller, less intrusive method to govern speeding in our neighborhood. So with that, I'd just like to point out that there has been 0 accidents regarding people and automobiles in Lynn Haven, Moet Highlands, which I understand that the charge of the city is safety, so I'd like to see if there's something else we can do with that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Jerry Parker.
Good evening, Commission. Jerry Parker, Rhett Place. Mayor, I would like to bring up a situation that happened several meetings ago. In your report, you stated we did not ask you to meet with us. That is incorrect.
What are you referring to?
There was an email when I stated that I met with each one of the commissioners. In your report, you stated that you were never asked There was an email that was sent to you and you never replied. So I just want to make that, I can send it to you.
Okay, so who sent me that email?
It was Christy McElroy.
Correct.
And she did,
After I made that statement.
no, it was before.
Yeah, it was after.
And also, the lights that are on the entrance signs to Lynn Haven, those lights are on 24 hours a day. Is there a reason why there could not be a timer put on those? I'm assuming that, that they're probably expensive lights. Is there something that can be done with that?
We'll address that later. Thank you.
And then my last thing is that if we are going to have rebuttal when you have your commissioner's report, I think the citizens should have rebuttal to that as well, to have equal opportunity. So I hope that's something that you consider in the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Tom Adams.
Mayor, City Council, thank you for allowing us an opportunity to speak. My name is Tom Adams. I'm at 1502 Inverness Road. And I think most of the residents here would agree that the current speed bumps are pretty violent. I was just going to ask if we could soften those up a bit. I just did a quick search online today and found some speed humps that were removable, could be bolted down, and will definitely keep the speed under 10 to 15 miles an hour, but we don't have to slow down to 2 or 3 miles an hour to negotiate this. These are about nearly as bad as jumping a curb. I can leave these with someone.
We'll leave those with our attorney, please. All right, thank you. Zach Detweiler.
Good evening, Commission. Zach Detweiler, Harvard Boulevard, College Point. So I thought long and hard about what I was going to say tonight. Obviously, we have an agenda item that is up on that has been highly contested, and for at least the public commentary portion, I want to address the Commission and remind them that you don't work for the city, you work for the residents. Your job is not to mitigate risk to the city. That's the city manager's job. Your job isn't to mitigate suits, it's not to mitigate costs. What it is to mitigate the civil rights of the residents to ensure that ordinances are adhered to. Your job is to question everything. Did city officials do their jobs? Did city officials follow the ordinances? Can any liability be found in what was done? And if so, if you don't call it out, can you be held liable? You need to really think about who you work for, because you're elected officials. You are not appointed officials. When you appoint boards, those boards act in your favor, such as the planning board. The city members or the city officials should not be running or influencing those boards in any way. They should operate independently. If they didn't do so, well, is the city liable for that? When people make comments up here, that is part of public speech. That is a First Amendment right that has been upheld by the state Supreme Court, and they have said that interruptions or not allowing the full-time allotment for that could be a civil rights violation. If it is done multiple times, that in fact could be liable for the individuals who don't allow that to occur. Calling people names and individually directing that name calling, such as calling people liars, that can be a civil rights violation. So I want to remind you all as we go through these processes, are you sure you know the ordinances? Because if you don't and you don't ask questions, that is a liability for the city and is a liability for you. Thank you.
All right, Philip from 233 Harvard Boulevard. There's no discussion on 12.
Bill, that's at 233 Harvard Boulevard from the November 14th minutes. I'm Bill, inaudible, so you can reference that if you'd like. Basically, I brought up your comprehensive plan where it talks about protecting neighborhoods, ensuring that they don't unduly impact with a negative impact to residential areas. And this is where we described about all the traffic that we dumped onto Harvard Boulevard. And we agreed that they would, say, okay, we go in and out on 390 and not on Harvard Boulevard. Obviously, on their plans, they have in and out on Harvard and 390. So on a slightly other topic, my wife has been, concerned, and I am too, about the speeding on Harvard. And she contacted traffic engineering. They put the little rubber things out. The bottom line of that is the southern segment of Harvard Boulevard had about 2150 to 2200 vehicles per day, and the middle segment had 1900 to 2000 vehicles per day. So obviously, you divide by 24, you're running about 90 an hour on Harvard Boulevard, right up there where 390 is dumping out. Obviously, if you go by 12, you got 180 coming in and out every hour. It's a huge impact if you let them come in and out onto Harvard Boulevard. You need to look at their plans. They've already got the pads poured in there and ramps up. You need to say, the intent was in and out only on 390.
All right, thank you. Any additional public commentary? All right, thank you. Moving on to the mayor's report, and I'll be brief. It was great to go out to the concert this past week. Once again, great attendance, great show put on by the band. Love the variety that they offered. Seemed like everyone was well pleased with the band. So just another great night at Lynn Haven. Also, this past Thursday, had a chance to meet with the residents of Mowat Highlands to discuss the speed bumps that are there in the neighborhood. Have followed up with the city manager to give her some feedback on the consensus of the residents and some different options that were posed by the residents for the Traffic Safety Committee to consider in regards to speed management in Mowat Highlands. So that's my report for this evening. Glad to have Commissioner Peebles back. Thank you for your service to our state and to the residents that were impacted by the hurricane. So glad to have you back.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm extremely happy to be back. I love this city, and so I hate being away, but, it is part of our duty to help those in need, so I was happy to be able to do that. After I was done being activated, helping with the storm down South Florida or Central Florida area, I took a few days to spend some time with the family, and happy to be back. So if I haven't responded to any emails or calls or anything like that, I've tried to, but if I've one slipped through, just ping me again and I'll promise I'll get back with you. I really appreciate everyone coming out here tonight. And I want to say thank you to the staff and for those that the employees of our city that went down and helped with the storm. Thank you for doing what you did. Every little bit helped. There's a lot of families affected down there, and I'm sure that they appreciated the help from our city. And with that, that's my report.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Perno.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have much. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. I got talked to again by some concerned citizens about the intersection inside the Publix parking lot, about going forward where there was a stop sign previously and now there's continuous traffic, but it seems that like every other car, every third car still thinks there's a stop sign there. So it becomes a hazard when you're actually sitting there and you're wondering, are they going to stop or are they going? It's I don't know if anybody's experienced it over there, but it's like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, So I just wanted to bring that to our light, that we still haven't really solved that problem over there. We need to look at that. And, I'm thankful that we are one of the 17 counties that didn't get real hard impact from the hurricanes, but there was 51 counties out of 67 that felt hurricane force wind. So we got to remember that, and our hearts go out to them because we know what it's like. So that's briefly it. Other than I want to bring to light that our Mosley Dolphins are undefeated, and they beat Niceville, and they're looking at state playoffs if they don't believe all the press, and they got to beat Gulf Breeze and 2 other teams to finish out the season that way. And hopefully they'll have a home field advantage, and we'll get to see some playoff games here at Tommy Oliver. So that'd be nice. But thank you, all the city employees and all of our first responders. That's my report.
Thank you. Commissioner Ward?
Yes, so yesterday we had coffee with the commissioners. Appreciate everyone that came out for that. It was a good time. I know Commissioner Vandegrift and Commissioner Peebles was there. Got to talk to some residents. Even if you couldn't make that, always know that I'm always available. You ever want to talk to me, 850-391-1217. I'm always willing to sit down and speak with you wherever you want, whether it's your residence, my residence, at a restaurant or whatever. So feel free to speak out to me. I did have a question. When does the Financial Review Board meet again? Okay. I think last year, is this about the time we need to vote on extending it? I don't know if it's about this time. Seems like it was about this time last year. So, last thing I wanted to talk about was the speed bumps saga in Mowat Highlands. I want to hand these out. I know I talked about this at the pre-commission meeting. I'm passing that down. I don't think the city got this right. And when I say I don't think the city got this right, I don't think they followed the policy and procedure correctly. And I just want to read the introduction of the safety policy and procedures. It says, traffic calming is a traffic management approach to slow vehicular speeds as they move through commercial and residential neighborhoods. The benefit for pedestrians and bicyclists is that cars now drive at speeds that are safer and more compatible. The Commission recognizes that properly placed and designed safety calming devices are an effective tool for reducing vehicular speeds and discouraging cut-through traffic. Traffic calming devices can be grouped within the following general categories: bumps, humps, and other raised pavement areas; yield signs, reducing street area where motor traffic is given priority; street closures, traffic diversion; surface texture and visual devices; parking treatments. The city will utilize the U.S. Department of Transportation Manual Uniform Traffic Devices and Florida Statutes Chapter 316 as a guide to establish locations for traffic calming devices. As noted, the city has original jurisdiction over all street and highways located within its boundaries, except state roads, and may use other means to justify a calming device in the promotion of public safety. In efforts to assist the Commission in making a decision regarding a citizen request or Commission request, all requests will go through a traffic safety committee consisting of the city manager, city engineer, public works director, police chief, and fire chief. After committee review of the information, the city manager will make a determination and provide a recommendation to be considered by the Commission. The Commission has the authority to accept the city manager's recommendation or reject. This never came to the Commission, and that's where I have issue with this. So the reason I'm bringing this up, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because what happened not too long ago with the vehicle had the oil filter damaged and had to replace it and replace the oil on the car. I think we can do this right, and I think we can do this right tonight if we decide to. So I would like to make a motion that we discuss the Moet Highlands recommendation like it's coming to us for the first time, where the city manager explains a recommendation and we vote on it. So I'd like to make a motion to add that to the agenda tonight.
There's a motion. Is there a second for that?
Just clarification, you just want to discuss the speed humps and
Speed bumps.
speed bumps in Moat Highlands?
Yeah, I wanted to discuss it like it's coming to us the first time, like it should have been from the very beginning. And what's wrong?
Is staff prepared to discuss that tonight?
It says right on here, city manager will make a determination and provide a recommendation to be considered by the commission.
I don't have any of the data that you would need to discuss that tonight.
Okay? And we add it to the next agenda.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'd like to see on the next one. Just
Okay.
Give time to prepare.
All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Now, I do have a question, and that is, although it wasn't on the agenda, we did discuss this in at least two pre-commission meetings where the city manager and staff did bring it to us, and a few pre-commission meetings. So help me understand what you mean by the staff didn't bring this to the commission.
So when you read the introduction, it's
No,
supposed to
I
come.
see that. I can read. Explain to me what you're saying. Is it that they didn't bring it officially for an agenda item
Yes.
to discuss?
Yeah, because
The
we're the
concern-
authority. We're supposed to vote on it, whether we want to accept or reject the recommendation. That never happened.
Got it.
Just trying to make it right. Because it's like I talked about at the pre-commission meeting, when I have a resident come talks to me, I can't sit there and look at them and say, the commission did everything that they were supposed to. And I don't think they did in this case.
Okay. So, all right, thanks for the clarity.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Vandegrift?
This week's Government Week, as Commissioner Warwick said, we had a little get-together yesterday morning, and thanks to those that showed up at 7 o'clock in the morning to have coffee with us, and it was very informative. So thanks to those that came. We also had, as you can see in the back, the art contest for the kids. So we probably had this afternoon at 4 o'clock about 100 kids, very, very excited because they were going to receive recognition for their entry for Government Week. And so it's always good to have enthusiastic kids in our facility. It's been kind of a quiet week for me. I've only had one complaint, I think. It was about a ditch and I've already addressed it with the city. So, like I said, it's been kind of a quiet, beautiful week, though. It's been an absolutely gorgeous week. Mr. Mayor, that's all I have today.
Thank you. All right, city manager?
Any questions with the warrant list?
Yeah, I have a question. BCL Civil Control, CONTR contractor, what is that for?
It's for sidewalk projects.
Okay. And the CBC construction?
That's for Mill Bayou Bridge relocate.
Okay. And the last one was public risk management. What's that for?
That's our property liability or workers' comp insurance.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, you had asked me about the Hurricane Helene number. I have
Yes.
that number for you. It's $92,002.43.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Stormwater update.
Good evening. You all had asked for us to do an update, and we haven't done one in a while, so just kind of bring everyone up to speed on stormwater projects for fiscal year '25 and closing out fiscal year '24. Oh, no. Here we go. Thank you. So just an update on our HMGP projects. As you all know, we've brought you several contract extensions for the generator portions of the HMGP projects, but the 6 stormwater ones are also under review with FDM as well. Moving very, very slow. I anticipate this slowing down even further because of the hurricanes throughout the state. But we have submitted 100% plans to all. They have submitted some RFIs back to us, and our engineers are responding to those as quickly as they can. Our fiscal year '25 ditch digging, you all extended the contract, I believe it was last November or December, for another year. This will likely be the last year of that before we have to put it out to bid. And just put the blank map on there for reference. As soon as our contractor begins digging, we will start updating it as we have the past fiscal years. I wanted to use this picture here. This is a ditch that has been dug recently, but this is one that we got a call from. They said we haven't been out to their home or been out to their ditch in about 3 years. So I sent staff out there, and that was what we encountered. So we responded with an email of could we meet on site and go over the issue so that we could address it, but have not gotten a response. But as you can see, the pipe is open right there, and the ditch is as deep and as wide as it can hydraulically go. So we run into those issues a lot, but we do track every ditch that we have dug since fiscal year '21 so that we can refer back to it in case someone has any issues or says that their ditch hasn't been addressed, so we can go back to it. Fiscal year '25 projects, you all are well aware of these because you approved the budget, but however, we've got the Aberdeen Parkway crossing we plan to bring to you all on the November agenda. We've got the North Ridge area, which is from Main Avenue to North Shore and from 19th to 14th, that we all have a meeting internally Thursday and hopefully can come up with a funding way to bring that to you all so we can get that surveyed and studied this fiscal year. Commissioner Peebles, you had talked about possibly the non-ad valorem methodology this year to look at some alternative methods or extending our tiers. So that's on our list of projects, as well as installing concrete or concrete canvas in some of our main ditches. An example at 17th and Minnesota Avenue, everything on Minnesota drains south to 17th Street and leaves the city. A lot of that ditch, it caves in or it gets a lot of sediment, so we will concrete that little area this year to prevent that and allow that to remain open. The stormwater assessment plans, just what we've talked about since we implemented the stormwater assessment about 4 years ago now. That takes care of our maintenance for the day-to-day of the stormwater department as far as ditch digging, culvert maintenance, inlet repairs. It can fund some grant match portions when possible. It pays for our staffing. All of our personnel in the stormwater department is paid with the non-ad valorem. It pays for equipment, although our larger equipment, like the Intergreen that we purchased this year and 2 years ago, is paid for out of our impact fees to help with those purchases. And it does not cover our large capital improvement projects. Those, $1.5 million stormwater projects or $5 million stormwater projects, of course, we do not have a large enough assessment to cover those. Just since fiscal year '21, just kind of wanted to rehash what has been accomplished with these funds. We've dug over 100,000 feet of our ditches. We've put approximately 1,200 feet of the concrete canvas or concrete ditches, and we've done over 138 pipe replacement jobs in-house and contracted out several inlet repairs with an injection repair. Flooding concerns, we have seen a significant improvement since work began in 2021, and I say significant work because 2021 is really the first year that we had funding available to start some of these larger projects and larger maintenance issues. Our problem areas that are still persistent are the 1,300 and 1,400 blocks from Ohio to Alaska Avenue, and that's the DOT drainage issues that we've had concerns with and reached out to DOT. Our incompleted HMGP projects, as mentioned in the prior slides, and our 1,100 blocks right now from Ohio to Delaware, and that's ongoing with the county and DOT project there on 12th Street. And as soon as that is done and the shoulders are paved, the county will be out to dig those ditches and hopefully alleviate those issues in the 1,100 blocks. We have seen a significant decrease in reported structural flooding, and I highlight reported there because we cannot do anything about stuff we do not know about. So we have some issues sometimes where people say, oh, my house is flooded 4 times, and we refer back to our list that we keep of every rain event or hurricane or tropical storm, and if it's not on that list, we can't do anything about it or, look into a project to address that issue. So just a reminder, if you get water inside of your home or business during a rain event, to email our storm email, my email, or the city manager's email. Any questions for that?
Yes, I do have one question, and that is, how do we assess or measure the effectiveness of our stormwater system after a large rain event?
The largest measurable goal to me is, the reported structural flooding, as well as we have, our police department is out riding typically during a rain event or a hurricane, unless it's just too dangerous for them to be on the road. And they typically will document any issues with road closures. They log that in their dispatch, and then at the end of the event, they will send us a report, and we log that as what roads were underwater. We also, the storm email that we implemented, that's how we track structural flooding, or anyone that has emailed, some of them have emailed you all, and you forwarded it to staff, and we have documented it that way. And then Charles, our building official, will go out and do an inspection on the structure and ensure everything is up to code that way.
Any additional questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. We're coming to a close of City Government Week. Of course, we did have the art show today, and great showing from Lynn Haven Elementary, Deer Point Elementary, Middle School. Great art there, along with the art teachers that are always very eager to help us during this week of city government. Another thing that we're doing this week too is, if you go out and eat at any fast food or restaurant, and you bring your receipt to City Hall, you will get a Lynn Haven t-shirt. So please pay homage to any of the restaurants here in the city of Lynn Haven and or fast foods, and bring it in right here at the desk, and you'll get a free t-shirt for that. We have rescheduled Art in the Park for November the 8th from 3 to 5 p.m. And the reason being is that we do have Grateful Dads coming November the 1st. That will be our last concert, fall concerts for the series. And so November 1st will be the Grateful Dads, and then on November 8th, we'll have Art in the Park. Very proud of the Sports and Recs team, Commissioner Peebles, and I know you've sent out some correspondence as well for the Toys for Tot pickleball and adult softball tournament that they're trying to put together. They haven't finalized things, but that's going to be something that we're going to be asking people to bring toys to these tournaments, and of course give them to the Toys for Tots. And so Justin's going to be working with that organizer to help put that in place for us. Early voting, of course, is now. We've seen a really good turnout. I'm sure the supervisor election will give you all of those numbers, and just reminded you all to get out and vote. Halloween, of course, is that Thursday, and we have close to a little bit over 35 trunks. We ask you to come out and be a part of that. That'll be in Sheffield Park. It's always a really crowded event, but a good event as well. We are just waiting on the clock to arrive for Old City Hall. Once that clock arrives, it was actually supposed to be here, I think today, Monday, has not done that. then they will start installing that in Old City Hall. There is a educational presentation that will be here in the chambers on October 24th at 6 p.m. to talk about fentanyl. And if you would like to have more information about that, our police department is putting on this presentation just to give you some education for not only, your family, but youth and anyone that wants to just know more information and the dangers of it. So I invite you to come out on Thursday at 6 p.m. It'll be here in the police department. We'll be putting that together. Attended the Lynn Haven Raiders